Ah, the life of a medieval blacksmith, truly the medieval equivalent of a rock star. Picture it. A dim, smoky forge, the clang of hammer on anvil ringing in your ears, and the sweet aroma of burning coal and sweat wafting through the air. Who wouldn't want to trade their cozy peasant hovel for this paradise of perpetual grime? After all, nothing says prestige like spending your days hunched over a furnace, turning lumps of metal into tools, weapons, and the occasional decorative hinge for the local lord's privy. Let's start with the blacksmith's workspace, shall we? The forge was the medieval version of a modern-day spa. Instead of soothing essential oils, you had the delightful scent of scorched iron. Instead of calming music, you had the relentless clang, clang, clang of your own hammer, a sound so soothing it could drive a man to madness, or at least to drink. And let's not forget the temperature. Who needs a sauna when you can stand next to a fire hot enough to melt metal, all while wearing a leather apron that doubles as a portable sweat collector? But wait, there's more. The blacksmith was the ultimate multitasker. Need a plowshare repaired? He's your guy. A sword for the local knight who's off to fight in some pointless feudal squabble? Done. A new set of chains for the dungeon? Absolutely. The blacksmith was the medieval equivalent of Amazon Prime, except instead of 2-day shipping, you got 2 weeks of waiting while he cursed at the forge and occasionally burned himself. And let's not forget the joy of dealing with customers. Peasants would haggle over the price of a horseshoe like their lives depended on it, while nobles would demand intricate works of art and then complain about the cost. Socially, the blacksmith was a real catch. Sure, he might smell like a combination of soot, sweat, and despair, but he was essential to the community. This made him slightly more respected than the average peasant, but still far beneath the lofty heights of nobility. Think of him as the medieval middle class, too important to ignore, but not important enough to invite to the Lord's feast unless they needed a last-minute repair on the spit roast. And let's not forget the thrill of being constantly covered in burns and calluses. Nothing says rugged charm like hands that feel like sandpaper and a face permanently streaked with soot. Of course, the blacksmith's life wasn't all fun and games. There was the constant risk of injury, the back-breaking labor, and the ever-present threat of being conscripted to make weapons for some noble's latest war. But hey, at least he got to work with fire. And let's not forget the joy of knowing that no matter how skilled he became, he'd never rise above his station. Sure, he might earn a bit more than the average peasant, but he'd still die in the same soot-covered apron he was born into. In conclusion, the life of a medieval blacksmith was nothing short of glamorous. Who needs wealth, comfort, or social mobility when you have the satisfaction of knowing you're the backbone of medieval society? So next time you see a blacksmith in a movie or a Renaissance fair, take a moment to appreciate the sheer luxury of his existence. And maybe offer him a handkerchief. He's probably sweating buckets.